TU Delft, speeding up the energy transition. Although today, if we can just get a bunch of engineering nerds to agree with a bunch of IT nerds about, is it digitization or digitalization, I'll be happy. Hi, it's me, Greg Shapiro, putting the GS in SDGs. And I was looking forward to being able to join you today for your event, but unfortunately, I had a previous booking with lab-grown meat in Maastricht. So I have to address you by video message. Just think of it as a digital twin. It is an honor to help TU Delft celebrate 180 years on the planet, many of which have been spent helping the oil industry, figuring out different ways to pollute the planet. But now, hey, TU Delft is all about MIT aan de Schie, helping speed up the Dutch energy transition. At least until Russia invaded Ukraine. Now the Dutch are transitioning to reopening the gas valves in Groningen. The Dutch government's climate plans are not looking great. In fact, to hit the 2030 climate targets at this point, it would take a miracle. In fact, that is now Mark Rutte's official government policy, pray for miracle. That's why the Christian Union is still a part of the government coalition. What is the role of the Dutch on the world stage at this point? I mean, it's true, we're pretty good at wind power generation. Windmills, typical Dutch. Okay, we're not known for manufacturing the windmills, but installing them, especially offshore. Water management, also typical Dutch. Don't forget, windmills, that's how Dutch people kept their feet dry throughout the centuries, even though so much of the Dutch landmass is under sea level. That is why Dutch people are some of the tallest in the world. The short ones drowned. And now, what to do with all this wind power? How do we incorporate all these alternative sources of energy? Alternative power generation and the grid to accommodate all of it, it's becoming very complex very quickly. Put simply, we're going to need a bigger brain, which means we need computing power, the digitalization of energy. That normally means translating all of your data into ones and zeros, very binary. But as they explained to me in the briefing for this event, the future is non-binary. Not a very loaded term at all, but it makes perfect sense because a lot of people in, say, power utilities reacting to multi-hub power generation, they're kind of like Americans in the state of Florida reacting to Bruce Jenner transitioning into Caitlyn. They're kind of like, so yes, there's lots of momentum, but there's also lots of resistance. I guess in terms of electricity grids, you could say that's a lot of ohms. Dear Diary, I just made an ohm joke to a bunch of engineering experts and academics, but there are also a bunch of IT experts, so I think I got away with it. So, no need to be offended. It's like Polensky says, there's no true or false, there's just data. And the data strongly suggests the future is going to get messy. Unfortunately, Dutch people don't like mess. They are so anal retentive. They've even constructed a shelf in their toilets for inspecting their poop. When Sigmund Freud coined the term anal retentive, it's likely he was referring to a Dutch patient. That's why we need IT and the control room of the future. More resilient against hacking. It has a digital twin, which basically means they've created a control room in Minecraft. And if Russia has anything to say about it, it's like Minecraft on survival mode. The thing is, the electrical grid, for the longest time, was so simple, so hierarchical, like most management structures, top down. The interesting thing is that the Dutch management structure is famously non-hierarchical. Dutch management structure is like the Dutch landscape. It's flat. Flat as a pannenkoek. How flat is the Netherlands? Even a town called Seven Mountains has its highest point under sea level. It's flat. In most management cultures, it's hierarchical. The boss says it and you do it. Not in the Netherlands, where everyone is on the same... Your boss might arrive at work by bicycle. It was a French manager who once said that, for most cultures, a decision is the end of the discussion. For the Dutch, it is just the beginning. In the Netherlands, everyone gets to debate every decision, no matter what your status in the organization. Most cultures say, let's agree to disagree. Not in the Netherlands. Dutch meetings are more like, let's disagree to agree. In fact, there's this Dutch saying, iedereen moet zijn plasje erover doen. Or literally, everyone gets a chance to piss on your idea. And if your idea can stand up to that kind of test, then maybe we have a winner. So here's to the best ideas, and here's to speeding up the energy transition. And if you need more ideas that are powered by people pissing on them, don't forget, the Dutch already have a leg up. I'm Greg Shapiro, the American European, saying thank you very Dutch.